Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Impact Talks. Today, the show where we explore how organizations and individuals are making positive difference in the world. I'm your host Adarsh, and today I have with me Dr. Sapna Poti. Dr. Poti is a Director of Strategic Alliance Division in the Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India. Her primary role is to promote scientific research and development along with innovations for social impact and to address industry's problems through collaborations between foundations, government channels, and other stakeholders. Her work revolves around engaging science and technology institutes and the entire startup ecosystem to meet national missions and priorities, including COVID-19, doubling farmers' income, Make in India, Water Mission, Waste Management Mission, among others. Dr. Poti is a PhD from IIT Madras with a dissertation on enterprise resource planning and has around 29 years of experience in the industry, consulting, and government. Her previous stints were with the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, Tata Trust, National Skill Development Corporation in the social development and government sector. Her industry and consulting experience include working with firms like ITC, Hewitt Associates, Deloitte, Toyota Kirloskar, Tata, Crompton Greaves. She's a member of Niti Aayog's expert group on skill development on mountain states, member of German Agency for International Cooperation MSME Committee and MESA's advisory committees. Dr. Poti is a Chevening Awardee 2015 and a member of Board of Studies on Skill Development and Educational Institutes and has authored many national and international journal papers. Ms. Poti, it's a pleasure to have you on show with us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Ma'am, so without further ado, let's jump straight into the conversation. So for the benefit of our audience, ma'am, I would request you to tell us a bit about Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India, and the Strategic Alliances Division that you are leading there.
Sure. So the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor was started by Dr. Abdul Kalam in the 1990s. This role is largely to the Prime Minister's office as well as to different line ministries as an advisory role. In addition to this, it's also about collaborations of related to research, innovations, and also to look at how social impact can be done through scientific interventions. The Strategic Alliances Division largely is working with different demand and supply side of people. The demand side largely are stakeholders like global and Indian foundations, embassies of different countries, also the industries of India, multinationals, as well as high networking of people. Largely anybody who has the intention to do social impact, but using science and technology. That is the underlying statement there. And in terms of supply, we have a whole host of academic institutes. We have the IITs, NITs, IIITs, DRDOs, AIMS. We also have research labs of DBT, DST, and of course, startups, about 85,000 plus startups, incubators, accelerators, both private and public. You have Social Alpha, NCL Pune, the 8 IIT incubators. You have Startup India, and then also Atal Innovations for school innovations and so on. So the entire supply side is anybody who is interested in science and technology, including grassroots level, innovators. It could be part of civil societies, NGOs, all of them, right? So we encourage anybody who's interested in research and innovation to be part of this supply side. So the demand meets supply through the Strategic Alliances Division, and our role is to facilitate. We do not touch funds, we do not sign any MOUs and so on. However, our role is to get them to work with each other to make a social impact.
Great. Ma'am, during your role as the Director of Strategic Alliance Division, which initiative or project would you recount that has turned out maximum impact or is closer to your heart as Director?
Right. As I mentioned that, the Office of PSA is a strategic, division, and it's actually the Cabinet Secretary to the Prime Minister's office. As an apex body, we are able to have a complete overview of the work that's being done on the ground. And like I said, demand meeting supply and so on. So in this, we have a whole spectrum of science and technology related projects, right? Like you have the robotics for sewage cleaning, to defense microprocessors, to AI for health, education, different infrastructure development through startups and so on. So there's a whole range. So for me to pick up one project is very, very difficult. But during COVID, we did a lot of BSL-2 labs for rural India, because we had very few BSL-2 labs then. We had only 54 of them who could do COVID testing. So we did mobile BSL-2 labs. We also did oxygen concentrators, ventilators, low cost and high value, which again WHO bought for Africa and so on. So one CSR project would have a multiplier effect at that time. So from the several projects that we did, I think Modulus Housing, which is a startup of IIT Madras, and of course it's my alma mater also. So there was more of an interest to take that forward and see how that could help. And there were several companies who came together, and they provided their CSR funding, and the state government provided 15,000 square feet land each. So we did about 54 hospitals across the nation. We had America India Foundation doing the project management for us. Because in terms of monitoring what the state government has provided and how the startup is, manufacturing and so on. These were Modulus Housing, Modulus Housing Organization, which did hospitals, 100-bed hospitals. So initially they had this particular prototype, and they did not know how to utilize that prototype. So we requested Tata Memorial Hospital to do one such hospital in Munger, with Wells Fargo funding it. And that was the prototype. And both Sriram, who's the startup founder, and myself, along with the help of NASCOM Foundation, we went to different forums and talked to IT companies largely on how this will be beneficial and how they can adopt this hospital through their journey. So this was, I think, the largest project that we did, and it has a whole host of facilities of ICU, beds, Wi-Fi, and all of that. So you can well imagine it's an extension of a government hospital. So you've seen the rickety old government hospitals and how this could have made a change to them, and so millions of people will be able to go through treatment through these 54 hospitals. And today, of course, NHM has given him order of 500 hospitals, and government of Meghalaya has given about 100 clinics and so on. So he's going quite big on this. So I think this is the most impactful project that we did. And just to mention that any project that is research and development related, or technology development related, or innovation related, is a multiplier effect. And that is something that one should not forget. So in Schedule 7, if you see all the points, except for maybe army widows, all other points are related to science and technology. Why? Like affordable housing, environment, and all of that. Why? Because of the fact that this is a multiplier effect. You do one ventilator, and tomorrow you have taken care of so many millions. You do one water, project where you do a water technology, again it goes to several millions, right? So that is the charm of doing a R&D project, or a CSR for startup incubation and so on.
I mean, it's interesting how you are explaining, and especially the multiplier effect on the people. So, ma'am, why don't you help our audience understand how do you balance this demand and supply and the stakeholder management, and what are the avenues for collaboration that exist between for the entrepreneurs who are budding entrepreneurs and established organizations? How can they become part of the work that you are doing? How can they contribute or be part of this development story that you're creating at your office?
Right. So, like I said, that there's a huge set of demand and there's a huge set of supply. So, and we are just 4 or 5 people in the team who are trying to help this, right? And we were born during COVID, and we continued, extrapolating that to other areas of SDGs, like renewable energy, water, waste management, circular economy, AI for health, and so on, right? We, in fact, established about 14 centers of excellence across the nation during this time, like last couple of years. We have IIT Madras having the water center of excellence. We have IIT Palakkad with sanitation, where we have SDFC Bank, Gates Foundation, IRM Scientific, Keystone Foundation, all of them funding that particular project. In fact, Mr. Bill Gates himself came and met the PSA and the team to see how all the sanitation work can be done by the Global Center of Excellence in IIT Palakkad. Similarly, in IIT Dharwad, we have Honeywell, Lovis. We also have Selco Foundation, and they supporting this particular project, Infineon as well, to IIT Harvard on renewable energy, circular economy again with ICICI Securities, AI and ML by UI for NIT Patna, and so on. So these centers of excellence come together, and they also have cohorts of startups, right? So here, the demand is given through these centers of excellence. People look at this particular project and say, can we join the bandwagon? Because not every CSR budget is limited. It's not like government budgets where the budgets are huge, right? So, but if you want to make an impact, you might want to come together with 4 or 5 organizations. And hence, we also developed a digital platform called Manthan, which I'll talk about a little later. But those have the success stories, right? So why is the success story very important? So that people know what are the projects which are going on in the nation. And they also say, okay, I want to fund the skill development part of the Center of Excellence, or I want to fund the pre-incubation research part of pillar of the Center of Excellence, or I would like to do pilot testing and so on. And we also ensure that we have a Ministry of Urban Affairs or a Ministry of Renewable Energy. Any of these line ministries are also part of the governing council of the Center of Excellence, because scale up is always done by government. You can do as many innovations that you want, but if you don't have scale up plan in the Center of Excellence, then the Center of Excellence just is a cute experiment and nothing more, right? So this is why it is important for us to have demand and supply coming together through centers of excellence. Similarly, the platform also encourages startups to upload their innovations. So it's like, like an Amazon where people can come and shop. So people see, okay, these are the market ready innovations. And I want it for my schools. It could be air purifiers, it could be water ATMs and so on. I want them for my communities. I want them for my schools. Railways can say, I want it for smart railway station. In fact, we did one railway station with 5 innovations, which also means that you are supporting startups. Which again means you're supporting livelihood. They're going to employ several further people, and the youth of India and the talented youth of India from these IITs and IITs, tier 2, tier 3 city colleges, instead of going abroad, are actually staying back in India and ensuring that they do social impact for underprivileged people. They are citizens with responsibility, and they are also getting into livelihood generation. So this is how it helps. And on this platform, of course, startups can also provide their details so that others can engage, the demand side can engage. So there are twofold, prolonged approaches we take. One is to go to the demand side, like the industries and foundation, and ask them, what is it that you want to give? Or what is it that you want to offer? What's your plan? We also help them make the blueprint, right? So for instance, Elon Musk has given 3 such projects on decarbonization, on space tech, etc. on the platform for startups to apply. Similarly, Lego Foundation has given a gamification challenge, and these are all 1,000 crores, 750 crores, and so on, large amounts of money. We also have projects of 1 crore and 2 crores from different industries where they want a particular development of, say, like I said, robotics for sewage cleaning, or gamification of STEM education, because today children don't want to study through teachers or through online boring, sessions. They want to go through games and things like that to learn difficult STEM projects, and which also means that this gamification project, which is the national gamification repository that we are trying to build, has scope for many CSR companies to fund that. And it's run by one of our clusters, and I'll also explain what is the cluster. These projects help fringes, northeastern region, African countries, all these people to learn STEM education through games. So such projects are also there, which again, startups as well as academic institutes can pitch and ensure that they are part of the demand requirements. So we get these projects from demand side. In addition, we also handpick some of the supply projects from different organizations, and we sell them to the demand side, which means that if National Center for Biosciences is working on, say, genome sequencing, or they are doing genome sequencing for cancer or diabetes, etc., which is a very, very important project, we go and educate and make awareness to all the CSR companies about the same, right? So that's the other thing. And one thing we should not forget is that CSR is not the only thing we do. We also do R&D projects, which means that industry R&D funding to startups is also done through this aspect.
For the benefit of our audience, you have mentioned platform, I would let our audience know that your office, that Strategic Alliance Division, was closely involved with the development of Manthan platform, and it is a platform that has been envisaged to promote collaboration between scale, collaboration at scale rather, between industry and scientific research and development ecosystem to help meet India's national targets and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And last year, in fact, the platform was also accorded Dun and Bradstreet Business Excellence Award 22. So, ma'am, congratulations to you on that.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yes, ma'am. Going forward, ma'am, in one of your conversations, you referred to India's startup culture as a mixed bag of good eggs and bad eggs. So, in that context, according to you, what are the key issues that are, holding the India's startup ecosystem back? And how do you suggest that we should proceed to tap the full potential of these aspiring ventures and our budding entrepreneurs?
Right. So there are two questions that you asked me in this particular question. One is on Manthan. So I personally architected Manthan. And the whole idea was, because we are a small team, how do we go international? How do we scale up in India and so on? And how this can become something like a LinkedIn plus an Amazon for the researchers and innovators. So that the demand side comes, the companies select their CSR projects from here, and they also send their requirements to the whole ecosystem that we are talking about. 5,000 institutes and 80,000 plus startups, and about 100 plus incubators across the nation, and grassroots innovators. The whole idea was that there are four pillars that we wanted to touch base on, Manthan. One is the opportunity pillar, where people can come and give their opportunity and receive proposals in a particular format, which is very articulated template. Second pillar is to showcase whatever proposals we keep receiving, in any case, through all the challenges that we float throughout the year. We have done 2,600 crores from the time we have launched Manthan, about 15th of August. And this money has gone to all the academic institutes, startups, etc. And they have been building their technologies, or they have been doing social impact on the ground implementation projects. And they also have been working on the centers of excellence, as I explained. The showcase of proposals are aligned to the SDGs, so that people who are interested in water, waste management, or renewable energy, or they are interested in, say, AI, all of them can go to those particular sections and pick up their proposals. However, since it's just a 6 or 9 months platform, the proposals may not be much. There are about 2,500 proposals to select from. But if you give the opportunity on the platform, then specifically for yourself, you will receive a proposal. Any organization can do that. We have 300 plus organizations already who have posted, and they keep coming every 3 months to 6 months to post their requirements. It could be requisition for information, it could be requisition for proposals, and so on. So literally every large organization that you can think of is on the platform, be it Microsoft, be it Capgemini, you have USAID, Rockefeller, Gates, all the foundations, all the industries, large industries, IT, BFSI, HDFC Bank, PNB Housing, all kinds of sectors. I can't name 300 of them right now, but mostly all of them are there. And the third one is that emerging technologies is also something that people are interested in. Indigenous production and manufacturing is very important for India, right? We want to stop imports from countries that we don't want to import from. So how do we do that? We do that through centers of excellence. We do that through incubation of startups, so that the startups take on these indigenous technologies. So not only social impact, even emerging technologies is important, like a center of excellence for avionics, using AI and ML, how we could do avionics. So we have got an industry partner, Saab from Sweden, and we have an Institute of Science as the supply side. Together, we have a proposal, and people can look at funding that, because that's indigenization of something as important as avionics. Oceanography, climate action is another thing that we are focusing on. There's a Ministry of Earth Sciences is looking at IIT Roper with KTH Sweden to do that. Poland and us again have a lot of life sciences projects which people can support and so on. So the whole idea is how to encourage indigenization through startups. Now, good and the bad in the sense that the whole system of being back in India, trying to do something in the underprivileged space, taking care of farmers, looking at water problems, all of that is excellent. That's very good. But the bad part is many of them are lab-based. They are, high-profile IIT students, sitting in their cozy labs and not going to the ground and understanding. So they need to actually engage very closely with NGOs, civil societies, get problem statements from the ground, take immersion classes for all we the same. For instance, TCS Disc does a lot of that. Before they make a technology, they ensure the cohort is actually immersed on the ground, understand what the different problems of the farmers is, or whichever is the customer, if I can call it. Because, for instance, when we have a technology being built for banking, don't people come and interview us and ask us what we want? So if we can be questioned, why can't surveys be done by engaging with the underprivileged people? It could be farmers, it could be any kind of people whom you are trying to build the technologies for. It could be women, for instance, who are wanting to do SHGs, and the whole range of that sense. So technology for technology's sake is what many startups do. They get excited about the technology, but they don't know their customer well. So the whole thing is, how do you know the customer well? And that is how this particular collaborative platform helps, because then they also get the immersion through the civil societies which are there on Manthan platform.
Right. I think on a very related note, like you mentioned, the interlinkages between social development and technological advancements. And I believe that there is no denying between the linkages between the two and the effect of the latter on the former. But in today's day and age, where emergence of AI-powered systems has taken over the world by a storm, and innovation is growing faster than ever, I guess. So, ma'am, how do you see these coming of age technologies like AI, especially ChatGPT, among others, transforming the realms of social development? And what is the role that offices like and platforms like Manthan and your offices of the Strategic Alliances Division can play in that transformation?
Right. So there are a lot of technologies that are being built, on a very regular basis, and they are all either two. One is pilot stage. They don't know whom to pilot with, right? They build this in a lab and then they don't know what to do. So we help them with piloting by, again, putting this up on the platform and requesting the industries to see if they can support, because that also needs funding. Pilot is not free of cost, right? So they could select, for instance, aspirational districts, and they want to do an AI for health. They have built something for, say, pregnant women or something. So they want to go and test it out. So we help them to see how they can pilot that through these centers of excellence. So one thing is very clear, that our office does not get into execution. We don't have the bandwidth. We are good at collaboration, so we stick to collaborations. Let me give you one example. For instance, astronomy is a big one, because since Dr. Abdul Kalam was the first one who was our principal scientific advisor, astronomy comes from those times. So we built in Northeast Jammu Kashmir, Naxal areas, we built about 25 astronomy labs using CSR funds of one of the banks. And then we requested NASA to give a project to them on asteroids discovery. Okay, so the students who had never seen science teachers ended up playing with data, doing data mining, etc., with the support of IISc, which is a university under NASA. So these students then learned how to, infer from data and so on. 11 students of those have, in some ways, discovered asteroids. 2 of them are today global teachers in NASA for other students across the globe. So that is the impact that one project can make, where CSR is a funder, our students as well as institutes and startups are part of that role, and it's an emerging technology, right? Emerging space. Similarly, in AI, again, pilot testing is one. The other is that after they pilot tested, they need to do scale up, right? So people need to understand the nuances. They need to understand how important it is and all of that. That's why in the centers of excellence, we have one line ministry there, because they are going to scale up. They need to make policies which are friendly for these technologies. So that is the biggest lacuna, where government needs to talk to the startups, and they need to understand the startups. Startups need to understand the civil societies, and they need to understand the underprivileged people who are their customers. This whole, bandwagon or the whole value chain needs to be very, very clearly articulated, and people need to understand each other rather than work in silos. And that's why this Strategic Alliances Division, which is a collaborative platform, and Manthan, which is a collaborative platform, is very important.
Right, ma'am. I think it is very important, like you mentioned, that how we need to keep in mind the social development aspect of the technology, while creating those, while foraying into those kind of areas. But my last question to you would be that our Constitution of India, Article 51A, mentions the development of scientific temper, humanism, and spirit of inquiry and reform as a duty of every citizen of India. It is one of our fundamental duties. And after 75 years of independence, how do you see India faring on that front? And what would be your vision for India at 2047 with regards to the same?
Right. I think it needs to start young. So scientific temper, first of all, needs to start from school. Humanism, all of these traits, you cannot suddenly, as an adult, try and inculcate. Some of them might get some kind of awakening during their journey. They may also think that, why am I in this capitalistic world where I'm making a lot of materialistic earnings, and I am helping the rich become richer in the kind of work I'm doing, instead of helping people who are underprivileged or people who are underserved, those who are illiterate or lesser literate and so on. So that kind of awakening cannot happen in the middle age or in when you're an adult. So it needs to start early, and that's why Atal Innovations and School Innovations and whichever organization, private or public, starts early. STEM education, which is linked to social impact. Innovations which are linked to social impact, students going to rural India or urban poor, seeing what are the problems, feel privileged that they have things which the others don't, and how they can come up with technologies and innovations which help them. That is the first starting point. And then, of course, researchers, faculty members across the spectrum of institutes, as well, like agriculture universities or IITs or any of the tech, deep tech or light tech institutes, and of course with the startups, the youth per se, how they are aware that they have the scientific prowess, and how do they use that for social impact. That's very important for them to do from day one, so that they are targeting their customers who are the underprivileged and underserved in a particular manner. So this is very important. And I won't say 2047 what's going to happen, etc. If we can even think of the next year or the year after, it's a great achievement for us. But the way India is moving today, and the way each and every person here is trying their best to help, and I've seen so many of them, so many startups, so many youth, so many academic institutes. When I see their passion, I feel, okay, I'm happy that I'm marketing them, right? Because the platform is nothing but reaching the unreached, right? How do they reach all of you? We know you, we know them. So our role is to get them to meet each other, right? So that is why we market them, so that people understand that there is a lot of passion, drive that these people are trying to get with their technical prowess and scientific prowess, and trying to do social impact. So, looking at them as aliens will not be a great idea. Looking at them who can support and help them, educate them, make them aware of what the customers require, would be a great achievement today.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts with us. And thank you to our audience. Our guest today was Dr. Sapna Poti, Director of Strategic Alliances Division, Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India. Dr. Poti shared her valuable insights and experience on how PSA Office fosters strategic alliances among various stakeholders such as academia, industry, civil society, and international partners to address the challenges and opportunities in science, technology, and innovation, and to meet our national priorities. We thank her for her time and expertise. And with this, we come to an end of another episode of Impact Talks. We'll be back next week with another illustrious guest and more interesting discussions. Until then, have a nice day. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the session as much as I did. It was very insightful, and it was great to know about your initiatives and the wide-ranging work that you have been doing, ma'am.
Thanks. I think it's been great partnering with CSR Box. Last year also we did a lot of sessions with the clusters and the industries and so on.
Right.
And so on an ongoing basis, I really like the way CSR Box in a very structured manner is bringing these stories to the audience, to the organizations. And that's amazing. Thank you so much.
That is our way. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.